My girlfriend's toxic friends convinced her I was holding her back, so she left me for a flashy guy who crashed and burned. I, 25M, had been dating my girlfriend Emily, 24F, for just over 2 years when things started to change, not drastically at first, but enough for me to notice. We met in college, hit it off over shared love for indie music and horror films, and had been pretty inseparable since. Emily was smart, funny, and passionate about her career in marketing. I was working in IT support while slowly building up my skills to become a software developer. We weren't rich, but we made it work. We split rent on our small apartment, cooked meals together, and tried to support each other's dreams. Things were good, or so I thought. The change started subtly when Emily got promoted to a higher position at her firm. With it came a new social circle, after-work drinks, weekend brunches, yoga retreats. I was genuinely happy for her, and I didn't mind that she was spending more time with her coworkers. But some of these new friends rubbed me the wrong way, especially her closest new buddy, Tasha. Tasha was loud, opinionated, and always had something slick to say about people's lives. The first time I met her, she looked me up and down and said, "So you're the boyfriend. You work in tech support, right? That's cute." I laughed it off, but it stung. Over time, I started hearing things from Emily that sounded like they came directly from Tasha. "Don't you ever think about doing something bigger than tech support? You should be more ambitious, babe. Tasha says you should aim higher. Tasha thinks we're kind of mismatched career-wise." Now, I know I wasn't Elon Musk, but I wasn't some slacker either. I was working full-time while learning Python and React at night, building a portfolio. I had goals, but suddenly, my goals weren't impressive enough because I wasn't flashy or rich or someone who could open doors for Emily socially. Then came the parties. Emily started going to these upscale networking events with her new friends. She'd come back tipsy and talk about how inspiring some of the guys were there. One name kept popping up: Jordan. Jordan was a financial analyst who apparently drove a BMW, lived in a high-rise downtown, and ran marathons for fun. Emily said he was just a friend and that he gave great advice about career growth. But every time she talked about him, her eyes lit up in a way that made me uneasy. I voiced my concern once, gently. "Hey, I'm happy you're meeting new people, but I feel like this guy Jordan is becoming a little too important in your life." Emily rolled her eyes. "Seriously, you sound insecure. He's just a friend. And maybe you could learn a thing or two from someone like him. He's got ambition." That was the moment I realized something fundamental had shifted between us. She wasn't just growing, she was outgrowing me. Or at least, that's what her new circle was feeding her. A few weeks later, she started coming home later and seemed distant. One night, while we were watching Netflix, she casually mentioned, "Tasha said something interesting today. She thinks I need someone who matches my energy, someone with more potential." I paused the show. "Wait, what does that mean?" Emily looked at me like I'd just asked the dumbest question in the world. "I don't know. Maybe she's right. Maybe we're just in different places right now." And just like that, the relationship I thought was built on love, support, and shared dreams began to feel like a performance review I was failing. The weeks that followed that Netflix night were tense. Emily wasn't the same. She still smiled, still kissed me goodbye in the mornings, but her eyes didn't linger anymore. Conversations felt more like checklists than real talks. She was drifting away, and I could feel it helpless to stop it. It didn't help that every time I tried to talk about how I felt, she'd get defensive. "Why are you being so dramatic? I'm allowed to have friends. Not everything's about you." She started spending most of her weekends networking or recharging with her friends. When I asked if we could do something together, she always had a reason to say no. Tasha, of course, was always in the picture, constantly posting Instagram stories from rooftop bars, tagging Emily with captions like "Level up queens" and "Surround yourself with winners." I never said anything publicly, but it burned me up inside. I knew Tasha had it out for me, and I had a pretty good idea why. I didn't fit the image of success that Tasha and her circle valued. I was steady, but not flashy. Kind, but not powerful. And in their world, power was everything. Then came the bombshell. One Thursday night, Emily came home earlier than usual. I was cooking pasta, thinking maybe, just maybe we could have a real dinner together. She walked in quietly, didn't even greet me, and went straight to the bedroom. Something felt off. When I went in to check on her, she was sitting on the bed, scrolling through her phone with that distant look again. "Hey," I said soft. "Everything okay?" She looked up slowly, almost rehearsed. "Can we talk?" My stomach dropped. No one ever says that and means something good. "I've been thinking about us," she began. "About our future." I stayed silent. "I feel like we're going in different directions," she continued. "I'm trying to grow, to challenge myself. And you're comfortable. You don't push yourself the way I need someone to." That word "comfortable" felt like a slap. As if working long hours, upskilling at night, and living frugally was comfort. So what are you saying? I finally managed. She looked down. I think we should take a break. Maybe even end things. I don't see us long-term anymore. There it was. Plain and cold. No yelling, no drama, just a clean cut. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I just nodded, heart racing and throat dry. She left that weekend, packed up some of her things, and went to stay with Tasha for a while. I knew what that meant. And I also knew, deep down, this wasn't about different paths. This was about influence, status, and the people she now surrounded herself with. A week later, I saw it. On Tasha's story again. Emily, dressed up, drink in hand. With Jordan. They weren't just talking. He had his arm around her. She was laughing the kind of laugh that used to be ours. I didn't need any more explanations. The girl I loved had chosen another life, one with shinier prospects, flashier dreams, and people who measured success by money and status. I was collateral damage in her growth. It hurt. It still does. But that was just the beginning of what came next. The weeks after the breakup were rough. Not just emotionally, but mentally. I started doubting everything. My job, my plans, even my worth. It's hard not to when the person you thought was in your corner suddenly decides you're not enough. I won't pretend I bounced back right away. For the first few days, I kept checking her social media. Bad idea. She wasn't even trying to be subtle anymore. Photos with Jordan at fancy restaurants, motivational captions like, trust the process, and sometimes you outgrow people. Every post felt like a dagger twisted with a grin. But I didn't message her. I didn't lash out. I stayed silent. It wasn't pride. It was survival. I knew if I cracked, I'd spiral. So I threw myself into my work. I started freelancing small web development projects, and slowly, they snowballed. I built a portfolio website, started attending online developer meetups, and within 3 months, landed a junior developer role at a startup. It wasn't glamorous, but it was progress, the kind I had been working toward all along. And as cliché as it sounds, things began to change. The startup grew fast. I got promoted twice in a year. My salary tripled. I moved out of that tiny apartment and into a better neighborhood. Not because I wanted to show off, but because I could. For the first time, I felt like I was catching up to the version of me I always believed I could be. Then came the message. It was about 1.5 years after Emily left. I was sitting in a coffee shop, headphones on, coding away, when I saw a notification pop up on my phone. Emily, hey, long time. I saw your LinkedIn update. Congrats on the promotion, smiley face. Would love to catch up sometime if you're open to it. I stared at it for a long time. Not angry, not excited, just curious. I didn't respond immediately. I waited a day, then sent back a polite reply. Me, hey thanks. Hope you're doing well too. She replied instantly, like she'd been waiting. One coffee meetup turned into a full confession. Jordan, as it turned out, was all flash. His lifestyle was funded by debt, and his potential turned into a layoff and a gambling problem. Emily had left him 6 months ago. She and Tasha had also grown apart apparently. Tasha had a habit of torching every friendship she got too close to. Emily admitted she'd made a mistake. I was chasing this image, she said, staring into her drink. I let people convince me that love wasn't enough, that I needed someone who could elevate me. But you were always there. Steady, supportive, real. I appreciated the honesty. I really did. But here's the thing. I had changed too. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't holding a grudge. But I wasn't the same guy waiting on the couch for her to come home anymore. That version of me was gone. She asked if we could see where things go. I told her the truth. I'll always wish you well, Emily. But I'm not someone you circle back to when the flash burns out. She teared up. I did too. Because it was real, it had been real, but that didn't mean it had to be forever. Sometimes, the best revenge really is moving on, building yourself up quietly, and watching life prove the people who doubted you completely wrong. I didn't need to become a millionaire to be enough. I just needed to stop believing I wasn't. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.